Welcome. So I am recording this as a beginning yoga class. So with the assumption that you may be practicing yoga for the very first time, or that it's something you've done quite infrequently throughout life. So we'll move slowly, and I will give a good amount of instruction, I hope. And please enjoy this practice and reach out to me if you have any questions. So the basic tools that you'll need for this practice, and in general, if you intend to practice yoga more regularly, would be a nice, we call it a sticky mat, right? So different than some exercise mats that are just a lot of cushion. The purpose of the sticky yoga mat is really to keep your feet from slipping when we are up in standing poses. So it's not just about being soft and cushiony for under the knees and the hips, but it's also for making sure that we don't slip and slide. So you can practice with a towel, but I tend to find a towel to be quite slippery. So you can get a pretty inexpensive sticky yoga mat. And by sticky, it doesn't actually feel sticky, but you notice that your legs won't slip apart when you're on it. Okay. I'm seated on a blanket, and this could be any blanket in your house. You can purchase a dedicated yoga blanket, and it's absolutely not essential for today's practice. But when I am in a seated place, I find it more comfortable to have my hips slightly elevated above my knees. So if I'm seated on the floor without the blanket, then my knees tend to fly up like this, right? So this just allows the hips to be elevated. Now, some people prefer to sit up on a yoga block. So a yoga block is also a prop that you can purchase, especially for yoga, and you don't need to practice with one at all. But if you would like a block, and you don't have a dedicated yoga block, then you can be creative. So basically what we use it for is in some poses, this helps bring the ground closer to our arms so that we don't have to go as low to the ground. Sometimes our bodies just open in different ways, and reaching all the way to the ground may not be possible, but reaching to a block is more possible. So what you can do is you can look around your house and you can think of what would I have that I could use as a prop. So it might be a water bottle, it might be a stack of books. So those are just options, but you can do today's practice without any of those things. So those are the things that I'm recommending so far. Sticky mat for sure, blanket optional, block optional. And then the last thing would be some type of, we call this a yoga strap. This one is pretty short. You can get them much longer, but I find this to be long enough. You don't have a dedicated yoga strap, and you probably don't if you are practicing for the first time, then a belt or a scarf works great. What we tend to use this for might be, for example, to put around the foot if we're doing a forward fold and you're not as open and you're not able to reach and clasp the foot with the hands. So a strap can bring that foot much closer to you. Okay, so now that we've gotten that business out of the way, let's actually start with no props, other than our mat. So I'm going to move this blanket out of the way, and let's go on down to our backs. The back is a lovely place to just begin the process of release and letting go. So allow your palms to spin up towards the ceiling. Allow your shoulders to relax. So you might want to roll the shoulder blades a little bit onto your back so that you feel an opening across the collarbones. Your arms might want to walk just a few inches away from the body so they're laid out to the side in a comfortable way. And feet can also just fall out to the side and be comfortable. And then take some nice, slow, deep breaths. I like being on the back as a place to connect with my breath, because I can feel the back body pressing into the mat as I breathe. I can feel the heaviness of my body just melting into the earth, and the weight of gravity drawing me downwards. And I might stay here with my arms out to the sides or choose to take one arm up close to the heart and then the other arm to the belly. What this does is it helps me check in with the depth of my breathing. We want to breathe a nice abdominal breath, so not just feeling the rise and fall in the chest, but feeling that belly press against the hand. And if it helps you to feel it, you might even take both hands down to the abdomen. Inhale fully and feel the belly expanding and pressing into the hands. And then as you exhale, feel the belly drop away from the hands and the navel draw towards the spine. Going at a comfortable pace for you, not forcing the breath, just allowing it. Letting the eyes close if you feel safe in your space and comfortable doing so. If this is a newer practice for you and you're feeling a little nervous tension, it's also okay to leave the eyes open. Just let the gaze be soft. There might be a lot of sounds around you. I know in my house right now, I'm hearing the sound of the washing machine, and the clock ticking, of my husband's footsteps. It's all okay. Just let the sounds, let the sensations that you're feeling, maybe the air on the skin, the heaviness of the body. All of those sounds and sensations and senses just weave together as a dance that you're not attached to. It's moving through you and around you. That you are this open space of consciousness in which all of those things are just arising, coming, and going. Maybe you feel already a bit more connected to yourself than when we started this practice. And so I just would like to remind you at this point in the practice that this is actually the true intention of yoga. There are all kinds of other benefits of yoga. You might know people that practice yoga for flexibility or strength or even endurance. Some forms of yoga are very fast paced and you can get quite a cardio workout. But yoga is actually a work in. It's a way of connecting with your truest self, the self that isn't the front that you put up or the way that you face the world, the facades that we create, but it's our true, inherent, beautiful nature and connecting with that. And so all of the poses today are just suggestions. And if at any point they don't feel right in the body, you should listen to yourself more than you listen to me. The yoga teacher is just a guide. You can always feel free to come to a resting place, maybe this posture or any other. Take a break when you want it. And you are still experiencing yoga, losing absolutely nothing in your practice. So if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. And then release the hands away from the belly. And let's go ahead and draw both knees now up into the chest. Clasp the hands below the knees, and then as if your knees are a marker, right? Draw a circle with those knees, like you're just trying to draw a circle in the air. Taking it a few times in one direction, and then whichever way you're going, go ahead and change. And notice as you circle those knees around that you're getting a nice massage for the lower back. And then pause in the middle. Let your arms drop out alongside you like a goalpost, so they're bent at the elbows. And then as you exhale, drop your hips and your knees over to one side and let the gaze travel the other way. And then inhale, bring the knees back up to 90 degrees. On the exhale, drop them the other way. And the gaze follows. So move this with your own breath, inhaling to the center and exhaling, releasing side to side. You might have to go faster or slower than I am, and that's okay. But what we're doing is a lovely spinal twist. So one of the benefits of yoga, and it's a physical as well as a mental benefit, is we move stagnant and stuck spaces in the body, which helps us physically, but also helps to clear the mind. We connect the breath and the movement, which makes yoga a form of moving meditation. Let's do one more each way. And then the next time your knees come to the center, let's just clasp the right knee in and let the left leg grow long. And then take that right knee out towards the right side of the body. So you're not drawing it directly into the rib cage, but closer up towards that right shoulder. And give a nice firm squeeze here and feel that nice stretch. And then release the knee and flex that right foot up like you're placing a footprint right on that ceiling above you. Stretch through the heel. And then very slowly, keeping the foot flexed, lower that foot all the way down to the ground. Very nice. And maybe as it drops down, just take a moment to notice the difference between the right and left sides of the body. Maybe the right side already feels a bit looser, more open. So let's stretch through that left leg channel. So draw the left knee up, clasp the hands beneath the knee, and then open the knee out to the left side. So you're drawing it up towards the left shoulder. Squeezing, getting a nice stretch for the hip joint. And then release the clasp, flex the foot, straighten that leg up towards the ceiling. The arms can come down, just making that footprint directly above you. And then very slowly, just begin to lower down, keeping that foot flexed. Lots of control here at the core muscles to lower that down. And now both knees come in. This time, bring your hands behind your thighs and let's rock and roll ourselves up. Did we think we were going to have sleeping yoga today? Stay down on the back. That is an option. But if it feels comfortable for your spine, I like to rock and roll maybe 3 or 4 times. And then the last time that I come up, simply cross at the ankles. But I've ended up here. This is a wall, so I'm going to walk back closer towards the middle of my mat. You can stay at the top, and we are in tabletop. So tabletop is a really common yoga pose. So I know I'm far away from you, but what you want to do is spread your fingers out like rays of sunshine with your index finger pointed towards the top of the mat. And you want to think about a nice, well-stacked table. What I mean by that is your wrists are directly under the shoulders, the knees are directly under the hips. The toes can be tucked or untucked, whichever feels good for you. And your spine is in a neutral position, so we call this neutral spine, like a nice tabletop. Somebody could probably set a drink down on top. And then root down under the knuckle mounds of all the fingers, so you're not just pressing into the wrists. Spiral the elbows inward. Yes, a nice firm foundation for your table, so your table is strong and engaged. Let's take a few cycles of cat-cow breathing. So on your next inhale, drop the belly and lift the gaze and lift the tailbones. We're getting a nice big scoop, a nice big arch in the back. Then as we exhale, lead from the tailbone, begin to draw it under. The spine begins to round. And eventually the chin tucks and you're gazing at the navel. Inhale. Releasing, lifting from the tailbone, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, drawing the shoulders back away from the ears. Exhale, everything goes in reverse. So what we're doing here, and just continue this a few more times, you are moving your spine in a full extension and then a full flexion. So good for the health of the spine. And then this next time, Let's take this to a lateral twist. So twist your gaze back to look at that right ankle, then come to the center. Exhale and twist your gaze to that left ankle. Inhale, center, do that one more time each way. So now we're getting lateral flexion of the spine. So often in our daily lives, we're not moving our spine in all of its directions. In yoga, that's one of the things we often do. Let's release our wrists now. So sit your hips back to the heels, walk your knees out to the edges of the mat, and then simply walk the hands forward and let the forehead come to rest on the ground. So this is child's pose, with your big toes to touch. Arms can relax, and if you'd like to release your wrists even more, turn the palms up. Just let the arms fall open. This is a pose of relaxation, but it's also a nice stretch for the hips. And we can also take this now into a nice shoulder stretch. So this is a variation on a pose we call thread the needle. So if you're a seamstress or a seamster, I don't know, walk your hands up just a little bit and then put all your weight into that left hand. So this right arm comes up and then thread the top of the hand, the palm is turned up, top of the hand is on the floor, slides right in front of that left knee, and then come down to rest on the right shoulder. Let the head drop back down. And walk the left fingertips forward, getting a nice stretch here. Breathe into the shoulder. And then walk the left hand back just so you can press yourself up. Change hands. So the right hand roots down, the left hand picks up. We flip it upside down. Slide that top of the left hand right in front of the right knee until you come all the way down to the shoulder, drop to the side of the head, and walk those right fingertips long. And in yoga, we also imagine that the breath is a tool that we control. And that's not really so imaginary. We can control our breathing. We can speed it up. We can slow it down. It's largely, but not completely in our control. And we imagine we send the breath to the places of tightness, just where it's needed, and push back up through that right hand. Okay, now walk your knees back in so that they're hip width distance apart, like they were for tabletop, and rock yourself forward. We're coming now into downward facing dog. So I like to walk my hands about one palm's width distance forward from where they were in tabletop, just for a nice wider base of my triangle. Then tuck your back toes and lift the hips up. So you notice that my heels don't touch the ground. That's absolutely okay. You can practice yoga all your life and they might never touch the ground. You can also keep the knees bent. If you're feeling that the hamstrings need a little bit more time to open up, they might be tight. This first downward dog, generally we're gazing back between the ankle bones, but you might want to take a peek forward, just make sure those hands are nice and firm and splayed wide like those rays of sunshine. And really what we want to feel here is a lifting from the tailbone. So we're lifting up as if somebody has a string attached to your sacrum, and just drawing your hips upward. We're going for a nice long straight spine. Very good. And begin to bend into the knees, gaze forward, and let's walk ourselves up very slowly towards the top of the mat. The feet now are just about hip width distance apart, so you can measure that. It's just about 2 fists between the ankle bones. And then drop yourself down, bend at the knees, and let the torso hang heavy on the thighs. You can take your fists and put them in opposite elbow creases and allow yourself just to hang heavy, maybe even swaying from side to side. So this is called ragdoll pose. You can shake the head yes, no, just nodding it in all directions, letting any tension, just visualize it cascading down your back, down your neck, down your head, dripping off of you like a waterfall. And then the hands drop down. And let's roll up today. So lots of different options for coming up, but if it feels comfortable for your spine, you can press into the feet,
And begin to roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. Head and neck are last to rise. And then we'll loop those shoulders up and back. Very nice. All right, now normally you would just stay facing the front wall, but I might turn towards you just so I'm not turning away from you for these postures here, just as we do some initial stretches. But you might stay with your feet hip width apart or bring the big toes to touch. It's your choice, whatever gives you a nice firm foundation. But look down at your toes. Let's make them into yoga toes by picking them up and spreading them back down, maybe even so wide that we can see the color of your mat through each of your toes. And then lift your shoulders up to the ears, loop them back and down, and do that one more time. And then let's do it the other way. Lift your shoulders up, loop them forward, shoulders up and forward. Now let's stand in mountain pose. So turn your palms forward. Feel that you're pulling up energy from the earth, strengthening and tightening through the legs, through the abdomen, knitting the rib cage in and dropping the shoulders down. So it's a very active pose, even though we're just standing here. We're not standing loosey-goosey, right? You feel the energy. You can even close your eyes and feel the energy pulsing through the body. We're not even completely still. You notice the work that your body's always doing to rock you front to back and side to side and keep you stable. Let's do some mountain breathing. So we inhale and sweep the arms up overhead. Palms come to touch. On an exhale, let's hinge forward from the hips and open those arms wide, diving down. Inhale, bringing your hands up to the shins. Neutral spine, always drawing the shoulders from the ears. And then on an exhale, fold into the legs. You can bring the hands behind the shins to draw you deeper if you like. And then inhale, root down through the feet to rise up. Maybe adding a gentle back bend like you're arcing out of the water. And then exhale, the hands can graze at the third eye center and come to rest on the heart. So that's a sequence called mountain breathing. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, lead from the core so that chest stays open. We hinge from the hips. Fold all the way down. Inhale, long spine, lengthen, neutral. Exhale, fold, low, deepen into the fold if it's available to you. Inhale, press through the feet and come up like you're gathering all of the space. Back bend here, optional. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, all the way up, reach overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Noticing the length we're creating in the backs of the legs. In the spine, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down. Inhale all the way up. Now, we'll add on from our mountain breathing. So I'm going to face the side wall. You stay where you are. We'll start in that same pattern. But now we're taking this into what we call a sun salutation, which is a core pattern of movement in yoga practice. So inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale, so I have to step back a little. Exhale, hinge, forward time over the legs. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen your spine. This time, as you exhale, plant the hands and let's step back to plank pose. So let's hang out here and plank for a while. This is why yoga is also good for strengthening. So activate through the legs, activate through the arms, root down through the knuckle mounds of the fingers, draw the core body in. Nice work. Take one more inhale here. Then as we exhale, let's all drop the knees and then bend at the elbows, lowering the chest and lowering the chin. And you might notice that my hips are still lifted into the air. So this is also called inchworm pose. As I inhale now, slide the body forward, coming into a low cobra. So cobra
Let me move all this stuff out of the way or back up towards you. Cobra, my hands are right under the shoulders, elbows are hugging alongside the body, and without putting any weight into the hands, I can even lift them off the mat. I'm lifting my torso up for a gentle back bend. Exhale, let's lower just the forehead down. Then come up for another cobra here as you inhale. Just using the strength of the spine. It's a baby cobra. You won't come up very high, but you're using a lot of spine strength. Exhale, lower down. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. This next time, push into your hands to bring yourself up through tabletop and then tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Ooh, very nice. Push through the hands, lift the hips high, lengthen through the spine. Maybe even pedal out the heels here. So this is called taking the dog for a walk. So as we're creating some length in the backs of the legs, you can pedal the feet from side to side, even shift the head under each opposite armpit. And then once you've done about an even number on each side, bring your dog back into stillness, sending the hips again high. As you exhale, bend the knees. And now it's your choice. You can take as many steps as you need to, like we did before. You can walk up slowly, or you can try to take one big step up with the right foot and then the left foot and fold over those legs. On your inhale, we root down to rise up, reversing our swan dive, arcing back, and exhale. Nice work. Let's do one more sun salutation together, just for good measure. And then sometimes when we practice, we do many, many, many. Not every style of yoga, but it's a beautiful flow. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, draw the navel in and fold forward over the legs. Half lift as you inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, and find plank pose. So lowering the hips down so the body's in one plane. Hold for one more inhale. Exhale, lower the knees, lower the chest and the chin. Inhale, cobra pose, lifting the heart, opening across the collarbones. Exhale, press through table and arrive in downward facing dog. And we settle in here, holding our dog. It's like a home-based posture. One more full breath. Let the air fill your body. Exhale, bending the knees, gazing forward. And now you decide again, if you decide to do it with one big step, try the opposite foot this time. Ooh, you might get a little creak like I did, folding low over the legs. And inhale, root down, rise up. So if you'd like to practice some more sun salutations, go ahead and pause the video and do that as many times as you'd like. Sometimes you might have heard of the auspicious yoga number 108. It's supposed to be a very auspicious number. So sometimes when you're on the solstice, or if you have a really strong call, for example, to do something for peace or anything else going on in your life, you can do 108 sun salutations. So have fun. All right, let's move on in our practice now. So inhale, sweeping out and up overhead. We'll begin this like we're moving into sun salutation. We're adding on some other poses now. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, let's just plant our hands and step our right foot back now. So we're in a lunge pose. So this is our first lunge. So our left knee is bent, our right leg is straight. We're pushing back through that heel. And let's take a few breaths to pulse in and out of that lunge. So I like to straighten the knee as I inhale, finding length in that front leg.
And then exhale into the lunge one more time. And then we'll hold the lunge and we'll take this to a lunge twist. Now this is a place where a block can be really useful. This will be the first time I'm really suggesting a block in today's practice. And that might be here, since we're going to be twisting, we'll be pressing into this right hand, and it'll be the left hand that twists open towards the sky. Now you can do this on tented fingers or a flat hand here, but if that floor would like to rise to meet you, a block can be lovely. We're twisting from the core here, gazing up maybe at those left fingertips, or just gazing back to the wall behind you, or even down at the foot for balance. And then lower the hand on an exhale, move the block if you used it. And then, let's see, we'll step that right foot forward into a forward fold. Come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And let's do that on the other side. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot back. Lunging now on the right side. Inhaling, straightening the leg. Exhale, pulse forward. 2 more times like that. Warming up the joints, and you notice that so many joints are moving here. It's the hip, it's the knee, it's the ankle. Last one, rocking back and forth. And now you decide a block or a book or a water bottle under that left hand. Sweep the right arm high. Continue to send the energy long through the ball of the back foot. You decide, gaze up, feels comfortable for the neck, or straight ahead, or down. Can help with balance if balance is a challenge. And then exhale, drop the hand down, move the block, step the left foot forward, fold over the legs. All right, now another way that you can move to that lunge position without always going through that half sun salutation. Let's try this time. So this is just going to be a step back. So we're used to walking forward. Right now we're going to be walking back. So maybe gaze down at the feet, balance into that left foot, pick the right foot up, and then step back into a lunge position. So now, if you peek back underneath you at that back foot, you notice it's about a 45-degree angle. And you don't have to have your heels lined up. You might want to walk that left foot out just a little bit so that you've got space for your hips. I'll show you what I mean when I face you. So if my feet are heel to heel, my hips might want to open off to the side. I want to keep my hips square in front of me. So if I walk that left foot open a little bit, then I have a little bit more room for my hips to be square. This is the position for a pose we call Warrior One. Those hips squaring off, I say squaring because they'll never be completely square. The back heel is on the ground. There's about a 45-degree angle. And if you have your balance there, inhale and lift your arms up, lifting the gaze, energetic through that back leg. Beautiful job. And you might have heard of Warrior Two pose. So what we'll do now is we'll take this from Warrior One to Warrior Two. So for Warrior Two, now we open the arms out, we spin that heel in and walk that back foot back up a little bit. So now we have, if you look down at your feet, you have heel to arch. If you were to draw a straight line and sink into that front knee, just as a caution, we want that knee over the ankle. So what we don't want is like this, because then you're putting the knee out so far that you're getting a lot of extra pressure in that knee. So walk that front foot far enough forward that the knee can be stacked over the ankle. That way you're protecting the joints. The foot is more parallel now to the back edge of the mat, and the arms are open. And now our hips are open. So I'm facing you.
not only with my arms, but with the hips. And now once we've got that set up, let the gaze travel back over those left fingertips. And this can be quite intense. It's another strengthening pose. Go ahead and straighten your legs. Turn your left toes in now so that they're parallel with the right. So we're in a wide-legged position here. Open those arms again. We'll take this to a wide-legged forward fold. So inhale, open across the chest, find length in the spine. On the exhale, lead from the core, hinging at the hips, folding over those legs. And then your hands can drop down. And they may drop down and find the outer edges of the feet, in which case that's a lovely place to be. They may not find the feet, they may find the shins. Another lovely place to be. Another option, if you prefer, if you want some support underneath you, is to let the hands drop down beneath you. Holding here. Kind of rolling the weight into the balls of the feet, getting a nice stretch in the backs of the legs and also the inner thighs here. And then come up. Very nice. Open those arms again. Turning back towards the top of the mat and then stepping up. Okay, now you can, depending on your position, I imagine you're facing me. We're going to do that same thing. You can step back on the left side. I'm just going to change the direction of the mat because I don't want to be facing away from you, but you don't need to do this, right? So I'm now on this side so that when I step back with my left foot to find warrior one, and remember for warrior one, I'm going to walk that right foot out a little bit so my hips are nice and squaring off towards the front of the mat. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Gazing up or in front or down. Nice long line of energy through that back leg. Energy through the outer edge of that back foot. Arms back up. Nice connection to the breath here. Even here. Nice, slow and steady. Let's take one more inhale. And then on the exhale, open the arms. And we have to adjust our feet a little bit. So walk the right foot now over a little bit. Check for that heel to arch alignment. The back foot probably opened out a little bit so it's more parallel. And then check your knee position so that it's nicely stacked over that ankle. And once you do that, expand your wingspan. So to connect with the breath, every inhale, you can feel that wingspan growing long. And on the exhale, you might sink just a little bit more into the pose. One more inhale here, and then go ahead and let the gaze travel over those front fingertips. Just feel the strength and the connection of warrior two. And then straighten the leg, turn the right toes in. One more time, wide-legged forward fold. I just want to give you a shoulder stretch variation this time. So this time, if you'd like, let those arms come behind you and clasp your fingers. So you can see that's what my fingers are like I'm making a fist. And then inhale, let that fist draw down and open the shoulder blades. And then as I exhale, fold over, let that fist travel overhead, squeezing the fists together so that the wrists are drawing closer towards one another. If this doesn't work for you, then go ahead to one of the other options that we've already done. Beautiful, beautiful work. Beautiful stretch of the shoulders. And then stay in that forward fold, but release the hands down to walk yourself up to a halfway lift. Hands to the hips. And then bring yourself all the way up, press to the feet. Turn back towards the top of the mat and step forward. Nice work. All right, that's enough standing poses for us today. I'm going to come back to what I had been calling the top of my mat. You can stay where you are. And let's bring ourselves down to the ground, and we'll get there with movement so that it's all a nice flow. So inhale, sweep the arms up again. Last time standing, so just enjoy the length throughout the body. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift.
Exhale, plant your hands and step back to our last downward dog. Downward dog. Notice how different the backs of the legs might feel than they did at the beginning of our practice. And then on an exhale, lower your knees down and come to sit back on your heels. Very nice. We want to come to a seated place now. So simply let your hips fall over to one side of the heels and swing your legs around in front of you for a forward fold. So forward folding, this is when I mentioned earlier that you might want to strap. This could be a place to try it. So see what happens. So first we want to set up our seated position. So if you have flesh on your sitting bones, I do, then just walk it back behind you as you kind of wobble from side to side so that your sitting bones are really rooted down, and flex the feet. Feel a nice energy. So this pose right here is called seated staff. It's like you've got so much energy in your body, you're against a wall that's invisible, okay? And then you can press, see what happens if you hinge forward. Do you find your feet? For many, many years, I did not. And so a strap can be a really nice thing. So what you will do if you're using the strap is just inhale and find length, and then exhale, walk yourself forward and use the strap. We'll come in and out of it 2 more times. Inhale, find some length. Exhale, fold forward, leading from the heart, really thinking about trying to draw your chest towards your feet. Inhale 1 more time. Exhale, fold just as far as you go. And if you reach the feet, you can drop the strap. And then this time, go ahead and tuck the chin. Forward folds are really nice for the body, telling the body it's a signal that we're winding down and drawing towards the end of the practice. Inhaling up. And now we'll do some forward folding with just one leg extended. It's called a one-legged forward fold. So take that right foot up, draw it into the inner thigh. And your torso is now probably facing straight out in front of you, so in between your 2 knees. So what we want to do is sweep the arms up, and there's this like twist in this forward fold. Once we draw our arms up, we rotate back over that left leg, and then exhale again, leading from the chest, and grab the strap if you need it, or find the feet, the outer edges of the feet, and then feel free to tuck the chin, tuck the forehead as if it's moving towards the knee. And breathe deeply. Now again, for a long, long time, I was not able to reach my foot here. So a strap is lovely. If you don't have a strap, it's okay. Just hang out where you are. Your hands might be back away from the foot. You're still, the beauty of yoga is that the goal is never what the pose looks like. The goal is achieving the feeling in the body. So when you're feeling the stretch, when you're feeling the stagnant energy opening, then you are achieving a full expression of the posture. Bring yourself up. Let's take that right knee now. And before we move to the other side, let's pick it up and cross it over the top of the thigh. Okay. And then you're hugging this knee in. Go ahead and hug it in with the left hand and put this right arm behind you. And now take this into a twist. So you're twisting over your right shoulder with that left leg extended, flex the foot. Twisting the spine is also really, really nice and beneficial. And then take a counter twist. Just walk your body over towards that left side, just for a moment, and then release that foot. We'll do that all on the other side. So draw your left knee in, let that knee fall out, left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Your body is now between both knees. So as you reach up, exhale and rotate to the right over that right leg, flex the foot, inhale as you extend, and exhale as you fold. Using what's available to you, the strap is a beautiful tool. On the next inhale, rise back up. Lifting the knee, crossing it over the body. Now it's the right arm that comes around and hugs the knee. The left hand roots down, so that kickstand at the base of the spine. And press into that hand as you rotate to the left. Rinsing out the core body here. And then release. Come on over. All right, very nice. And moving your props out of the way, but have your block close by where you'll be able to reach it once we go down onto our back. Because right now we're going to bring our arms right out in front of us and then very slowly, one vertebra at a time, lower yourself down. And then when your head and neck hit the ground, maybe extend those arms behind you, get a full body stretch. Might have to go under the couch, wiggle your hips, wiggle your shoulders, point your toes. Very nice. And now we're taking a bridge pose. So let the hands come alongside the body and walk your heels in just below your glutes. So try to bring them up close enough that you can tickle the backs of your heels with your fingertips. And then press into the feet, lift the hips up. Then walk your shoulder blades underneath you, so you might rock back and forth, so you can create a nice stable shelf. And continue to lift the hips. You might clasp and take a fist beneath the body if that feels good. Press into the outer edges of the hands. Keep pressing into the feet, lifting the hips. 2 more breaths. A nice back bend. And then exhale, release the clasp of the hands, lower the hips down, walk your shoulders out. Very nice. Now I mentioned this block. Another nice thing to do towards the end of a practice is an inversion, which means having your legs up higher than your heart. And one way we can do that, if we don't want to do something wild and crazy like a handstand, which we're not going to do today in the beginning class, something called legs up a wall. There's a way to do this without having to move yourself to the wall. So press into your feet. If you don't have a block, again, remember a stack of books would be excellent for this. You can do it without any type of prop, and I'll give you that option in just a second. But you press into your feet and then take that block on its lowest setting, so the lowest height, and slide it right under your hips, so right under your sacrum. And then take one leg up, making that footprint on the wall, and then the other leg up. Now, if you don't have a block, let me just show you the other option. You can just take your hands directly underneath your sacrum, 2 hands, sort of like you're making a diamond shape. And then just set your hips back down so and the legs can go up the same way. You just might have to rock back and forth and play with a little bit so that your thumbs are in a comfortable place, but that also gives your hips a little support. If you have that block, it's a bit comfier. And your hips are up a little higher for the inversion. And we're just going inward, just hanging out here for maybe 10 breaths. Allowing your eyes already to close. Being upside down, another way to move stagnant energy. Free blood flow, good for the flow of lymph as well. A nice thing to do at night before bed if you ever have trouble sleeping. Helps move the body into that parasympathetic nervous system, that space where we, all is well and we feel calm, sort of the rest and digest mode. Legs up a wall is great for that. Sometimes I'm called to kind of circle the ankles here and just release any tension in the ankle joints, the toes. Taking the head from side to side. And then sometimes my legs want to bend and extend, come out to the side, do a little dance. As we're moving from this pose into our final pose of the yoga class, which is Shavasana, which means corpse pose. So this is the final relaxation. And so any movements that you need to do, any wiggles you need to get out, let the legs lower down, and then move that block away from you. And then Shavasana is traditionally just taken lying on your back the same way we began class, but with the legs sort of splayed open now so that your heels are out towards the corners of the mat, arms walk away from the body, palms spin up. And the one variation I can give you if this is not comfy is we talked about that yoga blanket at the beginning of class. So for some people, if your lower back gets tight, a nice blanket underneath the knees can be a really nice addition to Shavasana. And then simply allow the eyes to fall closed. This is a time of stillness. And for many of us, it's actually probably the most challenging posture because we might be thinking, okay, my yoga practice is done now, what's next in my day? It's actually the most important posture of all. It's where the nervous system really just integrates all of the movement, all the work that you just did. It's important to give yourself about at least 5 minutes at the end of your practice just to be still. And if it helps you to do that, you can kind of walk through a guided release of all the different muscles and parts of the body. Starting from the head, just doing the body scan, softening the skin on the scalp, softening across the forehead. And the eyes grow heavy, the eyeballs fall back into the sockets. Softening around the ears, the cheeks, relax the jaw. Soften the neck, with the front side and the back side of the neck. And dropping down to the shoulders, let the shoulders grow heavy. And feel your left arm melt into the earth. Top of the arm, the elbow, forearm, the heavy hand and the fingers. And then the right arm, top of the arm, elbow, forearm, hand and fingers. Everything's heavy, everything's soft. The back body, feeling the back melt into the earth. Hips, the front side of your body, chest. The abdomen grows soft, the pelvis Feel your heavy left leg, thigh, the hamstring. Soften at the left knee joint, and the left calf and shin, and the ankle, foot, and toes. Soften the right leg, let it be heavy. Left thigh, left hamstrings. Excuse me, the right thigh, the right hamstrings, the right knee would be heavy. The right shin and calf. The right ankle, the foot, and the toes. Just feel your entire body heavy, melting into the earth. And notice at the same time, as your body feels heavy, you feel light. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Pause the video and come back to Shavasana. When you're ready to move on with your day, you can wiggle your fingers and begin to invite movement back into the body, wiggle the toes, and circle the wrists and the ankles, and shift the head from side to side. Maybe take the arms long one more time for a full body stretch. Wiggle the hips and wiggle the shoulders. And then draw the knees in, clasping beneath them. Draw small circles one more time, just like we did in the beginning of class. And let your knees drop over towards your favorite side. Just take a moment to cradle your head on your bottom arm like a pillow. And press through that top arm, bringing yourself up. And if you have that blanket you were seated on earlier, you might bring yourself back up to that blanket. Find a cross-legged place just for a moment to end the practice. An intention, invitation to draw your hands to your heart center just as a way of honoring yourself for trying something new. Going inward towards that beautiful true self, the light within you. And because we're here practicing together, I also honor the light within me and the light within you and that light that connects us to one another. So you might have heard that expression namaste, which is a traditional Indian greeting. People say it when they meet each other and they say it when they leave one another. And the translation is quite simple and quite beautiful. It simply means the inner light in me honors the inner light in you. So thank you for practicing with me today.